You're watching the first News Hour debate on Times Now Super Prime Time.
Well, joining us tonight from Chennai is Aryama Sundaram, Senior Advocate of the Supreme Court. Sushant Sareen of IDSA is on the top right of your screen. We have with us tonight Mr. Uttam Khobragade, father of Devyani Khobragade. Uttamji, good evening. Thank you. This is the first time you're on the News Hour tonight. Glad to have you. Dr. Sheshadri Chari heads the Foreign Affairs Cell of the BJP. Martina Vandenberg, we have two guests from Washington. Ray Locker is back with us. He's National Security Editor of USA Today. Ray, good to have you back. And Martina Vandenberg is President of the Human Trafficking Pro Bono Legal Cell. First question I'd like to put to you, Martina. You know, all that has emerged now, there has been considerable time for America to understand the deep mistake it has made and the hurt it has caused. Now, I'm not going to get into why no action is being taken against those people who have carried this out and then the people who've justified it in ridiculous ways. But do you think in retrospect, this super cop attitude of America in interfering in Indian law, flying out, Sangeeta Richards' family, not showing any respect for the legal system in India, interfering in legal law despite pending criminal cases in India, and then, as Preet Bharara has done, gone on to justify it. Has it given the American authorities time to reflect on the massive mistakes they are making, one after the other, in their handling of this case?
I would actually disagree with you about mistakes, in the sense that the focus has been on the procedure here, where the focus really needs to be on the treatment of the housekeeper, the treatment of the domestic worker who was brought to the United States under false pretenses. And the allegations here are very serious allegations of lying to the U.S. government and fraud. Now, this all happens in a larger context, and the larger context is widespread exploitation, labor exploitation, and even trafficking of domestic workers on special visas working for diplomats and international organization employees in the United States.
No, but don't you think, Martina, that you may have a big point that, what appears to me is that there is a point that Preet Bharara and the American authorities want to make. But what happens in life is that if you want to make a good point but choose a terrible example, then you end up getting it totally wrong. In your hurry to make that big point, for whatever reason, I'm not saying Preet Bharara has political ambition so that, there are some activists or NGOs who want to build their careers using examples like that. I'm not insinuating any of that. But, you may want to make that point. You take up a bad example and then you hold your ground and don't apologize. You're going to mess it up. That's what's happened, hasn't it?
I have to say, this is not the first time that a consular officer has been arrested on similar charges in the United States. It is the first time that it's become an international incident.
Of course.
A few years ago, there was an Italian consular officer who was arrested. There was a Taiwanese consular officer. There is standard operating procedure.
Was the Italian officer strip searched? I'm asking you specifically. Is this part of standard operating procedure?
It was an... You'd have to ask the U.S. Marshals about
obviously,
that. What I'm trying to say is that there's a larger issue
you began by saying, Martina, that you began by saying that there is more focus on the action rather than on the procedure. So I'm asking you, was the Italian diplomat strip searched?
You'd have to ask the U.S. government.
Let me tell you the answer. No. And had the Italian government, official diplomat been strip searched, they'd put you in the same situation that we are putting you tonight. You can't America cannot expect anymore to get away with this kind of rubbish. But Aryama Sundaram, the lawyer from Chennai, is amused. He'd like to respond to you. Aryaman?
Well, I would like to respond because it's so easy to obfuscate issues.
Yeah.
I mean, what we're really talking about here is the treatment meted out to this lady.
Yep.
I just heard this comment about standard procedure. I
Yep.
just wonder, madam, if somebody has lied in a visa application form to the U.S. government, is it normally par for the course
Yeah.
to do body searches, cavity searches,
Oh, yes.
tooth cavity, other cavities in the body? Is this par? Is this standard procedure? And if this is standard procedure, then I really wonder how a country which has human rights like that can even comment about human rights of other countries. If that is the standard procedure, I wonder what human rights are there. If I can understand, if you have a grave danger from somebody, to do so, to have a search. But if somebody is on a long-winded investigation into whether there's a lie in a visa or not, a visa form or not, and for that kind of person, if you do these kind of strip searches, these kind of cavity searches, if you treat them like this, well, and then in the same breath say we are worried about human rights in India, I have to laugh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and on top of it, Ray, I know, Ray, you want to come in, and top of it, what does America do? It goes on to deliberately undermine the Indian legal system and protect people who are facing criminal proceedings in India. You see, Mr. Pritinder Bharara, whatever his name is under some kind of misconception that he's a global super cop, a legal Captain America perhaps. But he has no business, I'm sure you agree, he has no business saying that we were forced to evacuate the family from India.
No, absolutely.
I think, again, I would disagree with you. I would disagree with you there because it is very unusual.
What? What is unusual?
It is very unusual for the U.S. government to do this.
No,
the U.S. government
unusual.
only intervenes in such a way to evacuate people under very odd circumstances.
No, it's not unusual. Unusual is a very soft word, Martina. It is, I would
Arnab,
say, immoral.
Here's what's going to happen.
It is immoral and unethical for the American government to do that. Yes, Ray.
They're going to find a way to get the diplomat back to India or out of this problem. This has become a tar baby of massive proportions that nobody in Washington or in New Delhi wants to deal with. It's an embarrassment for everybody concerned. It's obscuring the issue of human trafficking, which happens. It's embarrassing the U.S. Attorney's Office. It's embarrassing the Justice Department. It's a tremendous problem.
No, but what action has been taken against the U.S. Attorney? No, what action has been taken against the U.S. Attorney? How has he been contradicted? Why have the charges against Sangeeta not been dropped? Which U.S. Marshal has been taken to task? What criminal cases have been filed against them? Ray, please understand this. A grave indignity has been carried out and the people of India want retribution for that.
Well, they do, and I understand that. And there will be something that will happen.
Where? When?
It may not be as dire as people in India want. It may not be as dire as the people in the BJP want, given the election that's coming up.
Now, what has this got to do with an election?
This will be resolved.
No, what has this got to do with an election? Why do you bring the BJP into it? Specify, because we have a BJP person, and I'm sure he'd like to respond to you on that. What's the insinuation?
I'm reading the coverage of this in the Indian media, and I know that's happening.
What is happening?
I'm not defending what happened with the U.S. Attorney, but I know that passions are heightened. And that's what happens in a situation like this.
One
what happens with things in the United States.
1 minute. I'm a journalist asking you this question, right? I'm not a BJP or a Congress or left member. And I'm sorry, Ray, you must be specific on facts. Your country has made a huge mistake by, joining a group of activists and self-styled attorneys who have decided that Sangeeta Richard is right and Devyani is wrong, completely disregarding the allegations against Sangeeta Richard by Devyani and her sister Sharmishta, who have said that Richard wanted the diplomat to help her secure a green card. I don't have to tell you, Ray, how many Mexicans and Cubans you treat in inhuman ways when they try to obfuscate your process to get a green card. But in this case, I find it interesting that you're over-eager to give this lady a green card, fly her family down. The entire government of America acts like an advocate. Why? Why? What is the intention?
I don't know the answer to that.
Well, but then,
and I certainly am not advocating
malice
for her to get a green card.
There must be some malice, some motivation.
This is not malice. This is the rule of law in the United States. When you break the law,
what rule of law?
You are innocent until proven guilty.
What
and then
right,
if you are proven guilty, so let's
no. 1 second.
Let's let this case play out.
No. What do you mean play out? I say here, you bring in a human trafficking angle. I'd say, Martina, with the greatest of respect to you, take back the charge of human trafficking, because the family members of Sangeeta Richard
I never made that charge.
Your government.
I did not make that charge.
You are making that insinuation.
No, the allegations in the complaint.
Your government.
Absolutely not.
No.
The allegations in the complaint are allegations lying to the government.
I am sorry,
what
Martina.
I am saying is that this is taking place in a larger context of labor exploitation.
Martina, I would like to tell you this, that you Americans have messed this up so badly. I'm sorry. Please do not take it like I'm an enemy of America, but you messed it up so badly that the family members of Sangeeta Richard have flown out on a T visa issued by the United States. And you can check your facts. A T visa
Arnab,
pertains to victims of human trafficking. And those who show they would, quote, suffer extreme hardship involving unusual or severe harm if you were removed from the United States. Now you tell me tonight,
I work on T visas. It is not possible to get such a visa so quickly.
Well, it was given. That's the point.
Bringing the family over is very,
Why was the family
unusual.
brought over?
In my 10 years of doing work on this.
Why was the family brought over?
In my 10 years of doing work on this, in the United States, I have seen families brought over only 3 times. This is only the 3rd times in 10 years.
No, 1 second. Now I'll go across at this stage, and Mr. Uttam Khobragade, you are there, and I'm going to come to you in just a minute. But before that, I want Dr. Sheshadri Chari to respond to the insinuation. Coming to you, Sushant. Sheshadri Chari, you can respond directly to the insinuation from the National Security Advisor of USA Today that the BJP and Indian politics has something to do with this.
No, this is a very serious charge that they have made against a political party in India. This does not fall within their ambit at all in the first place. I think Government of India and the Foreign Ministry people who must be listening to all this should take very serious action, and the Government of India should also call the ambassador, US ambassador to India, and register a very strong protest. This amounts to direct unwanted and unwarranted interference in the internal political matters of the country.
Why? For what reason?
As far as the BJP, Congress, the left, and so many other political parties are concerned, the entire political and social structure of this country has been unanimous in condemning the act that the so-called marshals in the US have made. It's a total error on the part of error of judgment and error of act on the part of the marshals.
May, would you like to take back your charge on the BJP on this?
In this.
Ray, would you like to
yes.
Ray, would you, I'll give you one opportunity, would you like to take back what you said about this being political, because our foreign minister is not a member of the BJP and the foreign affairs cell, the head of the foreign affairs cell of the BJP is directly countered.
Let me address this issue, please.
Pardon me?
Arnab, let me address this. I'm not accusing the BJP of doing anything wrong. I'm just saying that this is a situation that gets into a political context. Just like we see things in the United States, like, say, the Benghazi attack. It becomes politicized.
You accuse the BJP.
And I'm just raising that as a
Goswami,
larger issue.
He directly accused the BJP.
Yes, he did.
I did not directly accuse the BJP of anything, and if that is the impression that I have given, I
did accuse the BJP.
Back. Yes.
So this tack, Ray, this tack.
Thank you.
You see, this tack.
Yes.
Ray, 1 minute, please. Understand this. On this issue, with the greatest of respect to you, you need to understand this tack. Congress versus, that's our business, Ray. It's none of, with respect to you, it's none of your business. And it's not political. Every Indian tonight. Ray, if I open up the phone lines tonight, BJP, Congress, left, any political party members will say that you are wrong and we are right. And there's a man there called Preet Bharara who got it so wrong, he should go back to law school again. But Sushant Sareen wanted to come in on this. Sushant, what's the core issue here?
I agree that the core issue out here, you can say that it is visa fraud and it is trafficking. The only problem is that the person who has been blamed for it, that is Devyani, is not the person who has committed these, either the visa fraud or the human trafficking. The visa fraud has actually been committed by this Richards woman and the people who are helping her, because she was the one who appeared before the consulate officers or the embassy officers and made all those declarations of the kind of salary she's getting and all the misrepresentation which she claims she was asked to do, she did on her own volition. So she is the one who committed the visa fraud, and she is the one who should be put in prison, number one, if at all there is something called the rule of law in the United States. And as far as human trafficking is concerned, there again, I think it's the guys who are backing her case in the US are the ones who are responsible for human trafficking.
Yeah.
Because this is the oldest trick in the book.
Yeah.
That you go on one particular pretext to the US, and then you either apply for asylum, you cook up some kind of a case, you level false charges on people, and there are enough either naive or silly people in the US who get taken in by these sob stories and then help you or do
get immigration. Yes, maybe that's the racket.
Both these cases, I think they've got the wrong person.
That